over the weekend, we enjoyed a multimedia storytelling session with a live production dubbed Story Sosa. Now, Story Sosa went down at the National Museum, and it was an absolute thrill. Let's check it out.
Then there was the massive sitting room where a TV the size of a Luo man's dream could fit. And Dad was chasing the dream. I mean, can't a young Luo make money anymore?
Baraza Media Lab, Catapult Agency and Gemini Creatives collaborated for a live production project that combines elements of narrative storytelling, video, animation and immersive experiences, dubbed Story Sosa. Story Sosa is a program that is set such that it delivers evenings of live multimedia storytelling in front of a live audience.
And we called it Story Sosa because we start off with written stories, written like a magazine print story, but then we add in little things to it, different elements of multimedia, and those elements is what we are calling Sosa, just something extra to bring out the story.
Literature lovers, poets, artists and fans of the creative space turned out for the special day ready for Story Sosa.
The mission behind it was first to experiment with what's possible in journalism and media in this ecosystem, right? Secondly was to bring together different groups of people who don't usually work together. Myself as a print magazine writer, I'm normally not in contact with animators, for example. So really just that kind of cross-disciplinary collaboration to spark something really exciting. And lastly, we wanted to tell really good Kenyan stories.
5 storytellers lined up on the stage, ready to tell their stories as each shared one story.
I selected the storytellers, and really I wanted to work with people who I knew were very strong writers. And also, for example, in the case of Paulo Tieno, who also was strong in their own genres.
Christine Mungai, who is a journalist by training, a writer and a curator, kicked it off with the Parables of the Monkey, a story of a little monkey that shut down an entire country electrical gorge.
A few years ago, a vervet monkey jumped over the electric fence at Gitaru Power Station in central Kenya, the biggest power station in the country in terms of installed capacity. The monkey, later described as rogue or mischievous in media reports, landed on a transformer, tripping it. This triggered a cascade of events that resulted in shutting down the entire national grid. As fail-safe mechanisms themselves failed, and the country was without power for 3 hours.
Thereafter was a columnist, lecturer, writing instructor and editor, Lutivini Majanja, with a story dubbed Homes.
My father, Koko's son, and his brothers would sit around that blue table, feeling its contours and smoothing them over as they spoke. Born between the 1920s and the 1960s, my uncles were scattered in other towns, Thika, Nyeri, Kericho, and Mombasa and Kitale.
Wanjeri Gakuru, who is an independent filmmaker who co-wrote feature films such as Super Mario, as well as Kenya's first Netflix TV drama series Country Queen, followed suit with Siku za Mwizi ni Arobaini.
Incidences of mob justice only appear in the 2011 edition. In that year, they recorded 543 cases across the country. Presented using the old administrative system of provinces, this report indicated that Nairobi took the lion's share, with 133 reported cases, which is 20% of the total.
Paulo Tieno, a seasoned creative with strong proven capabilities in commercial and advertising photography, performed a story entitled Mama Onyango Hairs.
Now, there are generally 4 main ways to get to Nairobi from Siaya. You could walk. You could take a personal mtoka, or you could board a bus, one to Kisumu, and then you could take another one to connect to Nairobi. Or you could take the Lunatic Express, the train, or as the Luos called it, Gare.
Samosa, a story by Alea Kasam, who is a Kenyan feminist, writer and voiceover artist, also carried the day as she narrated how her family got into the delicious and tasteful samosa business.
Over the years, the young men working around industrial area came to love Shirin samosas. Every evening, she lined the dining table at home with old newspapers and then piles of thin pastry on top, and in a flurry of mastery, filled hundreds of samosas ready for the rush the next day.
Alea Kasam gave the audience a treat as everyone had a chance to taste her samosa Sosa at the story Sosa.
Felt like a bit of some academic writing there, some political stories in there, some personal stories as well. I haven't watched something like that in Nairobi, so that was good. And I think there's room for growth, of course. But
it's relation to the political times, and the aspect of the photography with the hair, I like that. But I also like the samosa story. It was inspiring, some parts were sad, and just the resilience through that period carried through by samosas.
Wow, I hope you guys enjoyed the storytelling session. That was dope. Right about now, we are taking a break. But remember to interact with us on our social media handles at Jack Muller, at Vivian Degwa, and of course at KBC Channel 1. See you right back.
What you gotta do?